Hello.
Hello, and welcome to GutPunchRP, a role-playing game stream channel focused on diversity as well as charity. This month, we are raising money for the Transgender Law Center. And every dollar that you donate will give you an opportunity to win some cool plushies. You can check out our Twitter. I just retweeted the images. You could also see Nat. It has an owlbear plushie that is almost identical to the one that you could win. So yeah, go ahead and donate. It's for a good cause. They're super intersectional and amazing charity organization. And I just lost the ability to talk and think. Yeah, other words that I am supposed to say. Definitely have been doing this a long time and know exactly what I am doing. If you would like to support us in non-monetary fashions, things such as just being here, retweeting the Go Live tweet, following us on all the various social media is amazing, and we love you all and whatnot. I think that's what I'm supposed to say. It's close enough. Let's go ahead and jump into a recap. Previously on Lorelwind, our group of adventurers met the Resistance, who Hanail had been working with. Getting introduced to that crew, a member of the Grey Guard came in and harassed our group as well as the Resistance. A person known as Zinlir Hackledon. The party discovered that one of the members of the Resistance, Gregoria, had been arrested. Our group met with an old friend and familiar face for most of the party, of Halsey. And the party also won an award for the best use of detect poison and disease to be able to find a way into the barracks where Gregoria was being held. There was a heist. There was a lot of sneaking, and then a lot of panic and some amazing use of some clutch high-level spells that the group did. We had a vortex warp followed by a darkness spell to hopefully cover some of their tracks. And then a word of recall, which is where we find ourselves. Dee, tell us a bit about what it's like when you cast Word of Recall and everyone gets transported.
Sure. So the group is enveloped in this very abrupt, sort of lightly blue light that looks like the same way that lightning looks when it strikes through a cloud. And then suddenly, as like the temporary loss of sight wears off, we're all standing in a mostly familiar place. It seems like the temple that Hanail summoned for us to sleep in, but this seems a lot more lived in. Other people have things like hanging off the walls. The pews are at odd angles, and most notably, there is what looks to be like a retrofitted scarecrow from someone's farm that has been like set up to be like a training dummy, and there are a bunch of wooden swords like collected toward the bottom of it, and a couple of barrels of empty crossbow bolts and things like that. And we're about 7 feet off the ground, and we just like hit the temple floor. That worked.
Oh,
Never done that before.
a softer landing would be nice in the future.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't have a mattress prepared, princess.
As you should be. Where are we on a map?
Yeah, hammer out, shield out. Like,
Well, this is a more permanent version of the temple that I can summon. We're about...
you just keep them in your
we're
pocket?
not- No. It's if I cast the spell is in the same place for a year, then it becomes permanent temple.
Oh.
So
Okay.
welcome. We're not that far from town, just a bit of ways out, hidden. Well, as hidden as a temple of this size can be, I guess.
So, do other people know that this is here?
No one outside of the resistance.
How certain are you of that?
Let's call it 60%.
Fantastic.
They definitely can't get in here. Of that, I am 100% certain.
That's something.
Nor can they scry, so we're in a safe place for now. I will lean down and cast Cure Wounds at 3rd level on, the name escapes me.
Gregoria.
Yes, Gregoria. Yeah, I will give her a 3rd level Cure Wounds as I pull her up from the floor.
Oh. Thank you.
Hanail looks immediately stern. Sneaking off by ourselves, were we?
I was just doing a little light recon.
And on a scale of 1 to idiotic, where would you rate that plan as a review?
Well, it was going fine until it wasn't.
Oh, yes.
That's usually how things go wrong, though.
I'm just glad you're still alive.
Who the fuck are you?
Who the fuck are you? But actually, I do have that question. What? Why? So you're just a member of the Resistance? Nothing. How were
She
you
is
the one doing the
is
talk?
her sister, and we are her friends.
That's the summary, yes.
Well, I suppose I do owe you for getting me out of that
Oh, do you now?
situation. So, thank you.
You are welcome. Wow, I didn't even have to chide you into doing it this time. Progress.
Well, I suppose a little light torture makes me a bit more grateful.
I am glad you're still alive, Gloria. This is why we
That
do
makes
things with each other.
Okay, fair.
Buddy system. It's a time-honored tradition.
Whether or not we follow it is another thing, but it's at least a concept.
Yes, you wouldn't want to get captured by vampires and disappear for decades.
I will. Just like narrows her eyes and like shoots you a middle finger, but there's a little flame coming out of the top of it.
Perfect.
Light torture, did you tell them anything, most specifically the location of this place?
No. I can withstand a lot.
Well, that sounds tragic. But the question of magic, do you have any blank spots or time
No.
skips?
I definitely remember all of it.
Also terrific. Alright, that was me.
What did they ask you? What did they want to know?
Mostly what's left of our forces.
Makes sense.
Were we able
Anything
to
else?
get any
Yeah.
sort of idea of what they're trying to do based on what sort of information they were looking for?
I did, but I feel like that's probably a conversation for the larger group.
Fair enough.
Just-
Is the larger group available presently?
Well, for a
I mean-
conversation like this, I imagine we'll want to have it in a more. I mean, I love the inn, but I think the temple is a bit more secure. Of the runes.
Seeing as guards can't just walk in here, that definitely puts it above the inn.
Mhm.
Yes. I'll cast sending to Halsey and say, child retrieved, has information, bring everyone.
There's a beat, and then we're on our way.
They'll be here shortly, and while they show up, I imagine you haven't had any actual food in quite some time.
I would love to eat.
Right. If we've got an hour GM, I'd love to use my chef tools to make her something warm and hearty, just out of what is in the temple.
Yeah, absolutely.
Scotty's gonna borrow Harold, the little furry friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I borrow Harold? I'm just gonna go keep an eye out the window and make sure no one has eyes on the place, and also for when friends show up
Yes,
that no
of
one's
course.
stealing them.
Absolutely.
I'll join you.
Thank you. And then, yeah, go keep watch.
Sheer,
Yes.
you're going to help me cook, right?
You know I've pretty much never cooked a day in my life, so I don't know why I would start now that I don't need food.
Well, you won't be doing any of the actual cooking. I don't want to poison anyone, but I need someone to throw away the onion peelings and all that.
I'm even less of a trash man than a cook, so I don't know why, but I
I'll
will
just-
follow you because I feel like you want something else.
As Sheer is like protesting, I'm just pushing her toward the kitchen, like as speaking.
And I'm just like swatting your hands and like going anyway.
We spoke too soon. I kind of want to keep watching whatever they're doing now.
I am a bit curious now, yeah.
Yeah.
Keep an ear on it.
Give a moment of privacy, I guess. Come on,
I suppose.
let's go wait for intruders.
Yeah.
Don't
Wait
want
for
anyone to
trouble.
guess.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go with Team Hanail and Sheer first.
Yeah. Hanail will just, start a flame under a stove, get all the aromatics in there. D will resist the urge to get very cookie about this, but I start cooking the food, and just while I'm chopping things, I'll say, so Gregoria kind of made me realize something with one of her last comments.
That I was also probably tortured, or
Essentially, I realized I didn't ask you how you are, how you're doing.
just like all the emotions cross her face, and you can tell she's like very much deciding whether or not to be like extremely just like shitty and a little sister, or like actually answer, because like she's a grown up now and she should. It just, the wheels are turning for a second. She goes, no, I don't think any of us are particularly well, but also not particularly well. It's been like, 50 years plus about 3 months. So there's some processing that has definitely not happened since we've been fighting people this whole time and getting chased and then disappearing for another 20 years and going to a fancy party or whatever. And there's just been no time. But there was 50 years, almost 50 years actually of being a vampire, so that's fine. I'm fine with that in a general sense. I mean, you both.
There was one time where you were a child and you were chasing after Naraja, and you just absolutely ate shit right in front of the house because the gravel was still kicked up and everyone sort of froze for a second. You just sprang back up and kept running. And I don't know how you do that.
I'm gonna go with pig-headedness.
Well, you certainly have me beat in that category, so.
I guess I'll take it. But I mean, you've also been dealing with things getting worse for at least 20 years, but also the 50 before that. I don't know that things were getting...
It depends on your definition of worse, I guess.
I mean, what's going on outside is worse.
Yes. What are we gonna do about our sister?
I know I've said it probably too many times, and now it's starting to become a thing, but I do think she is going to have to die. It's the commitment to the bit that I'm really not enjoying here. If she was just like, oh, I stumbled into a cult and now I'm a little brainwashed, but I mean, she gave me to vampires, so I feel like, I just get to stab her at least.
She's been a right bitch in the past few years.
I mean,
What is the problem?
That's like a century, though, so I feel like we can say we don't have to qualify it. She's just a bitch.
Yes.
But I don't know that she's a redeemable bitch.
It's like Gregor I hate, obviously, right? And for good reason. It is really difficult to be full steam ahead. I mean, she's my little sister.
That one's your biggest sister. She's the oldest.
Fucking Hanail would know that. But she's my sister, and it's I don't know. It's just hard to reconcile, and I thought after as many years as it's been, I'd be at a more helpful conclusion, but it's still as difficult as the day I found out she was wrapped in all this.
Which is about, if I'm being for real, what Annabelle is, but...
I don't think she likes me very much.
I mean, you just kind of sauntered in here and started doing stuff, and I don't know that I like you all that much either, but you are my sister, so here we are. But I don't think she's trying to kill her sister, as I would just like to circle back around to that, and I think that that might get messier than a lot of other things.
I mean, I get where she's coming from. It's just our approaches seem to be very different. And, I mean, she's certainly good at what she does, don't get me wrong. I'd rather have her as a friend than an enemy, but I don't know. She has weird vibes.
That's, I mean, you've known her for like 2 days. That's a little rude.
That much is completely true.
I feel like generally her vibes are okay, but we'll just keep an eye on her, I guess. Scotty, too, but
Now, Scotty, I like. Anyone
everyone
that...
just, yeah, keep an eye on everyone, though.
Well, I guess they have kept you alive for however long, which is more than I could do, so...
That's fair. I do mostly keep myself alive.
True. I guess help keep you alive is the better way to phrase that.
I like pick up like the end of an onion and I take it and I like underhand toss it at what I consider to be like what I think is a trash can, but I could be wrong. And I just say, to stay alive then.
I'll turn and chuck one in there. Staying alive. And I'll teach you how to not make a mess of the compost bin at another day.
At least it was the right receptacle.
Taste this. And I just start like using you as a sous chef and just like spoon feeding you food until I know what to season what with.
Just very upset sounds.
All right. Outside crew.
Mm-hmm.
You chatting about anything? Okay.
What kind of secrets do you think we can get out of Harold?
I
Bet he knows where all the
out
best
of
snacks
the
are in here.
squirrel?
Yeah.
Do you? Well, I guess you can talk to it, can't you?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. You know, that's a good question. I hadn't thought of that. You got anything in mind?
The most devious thing I could think of was where the best snacks were.
You know, that is a good question, actually. Where does Hanail hide the good snacks?
Mm-hmm.
And the good booze, also.
Ooh. Good point. Even better.
There has to be some sort of stash in here somewhere.
Well, let's keep an eye first, and then,
Fair enough.
depending on how this goes and if we're invited to the meeting, we can ask Harold and go exploring. See what nooks and crannies we can find.
Like that idea?
Come on, little buddy, you're gonna help us. And hopefully he will give her advantage to keep watch.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you. Yeah, like they're gonna go find a window and like kind of just make sure nobody's keeping eyes on the place and when people start approaching.
And I'll find a slightly different angle to get so we can get eyes on as much of the area as possible. Maybe I'll go for like higher ground or something, I don't know. But probably stay relatively close by to Scotty.
Occasionally send Harold over with a note.
Oh my god, yes. Passing notes like we're like middle schoolers.
Yes.
I'm not gonna make you roll for this. Basically, it's quiet during that time, and eventually, after you've been there for a little bit, and we'll say probably about around enough time for Hanail and Sheer to be done cooking in the kitchen, that like the rest of that the resistance ends up showing up. And they begin to approach.
Go
So
give
y'all
the
would-
others a heads up.
And then fast forward, we'll just go ahead and have them in the temple.
Hanail made enough stew for everyone. She did make Sheer help with setting the plates on the table.
mean, you don't even know that they all need food. Why do I have to set up like 24 place settings?
Set up the plates, please.
I am doing it.
Put the forks on the correct side.
Like, just really like dropping stuff a little bit more than it needs to be dropped.
And I will just, once everyone is all together, I will start by delineating the information that I have of what the prisons looked like. You know, I'll relay anything about anyone else that we saw down there that I didn't inherently recognize. Just all the information I've got to give her like a second to, you know, decompose and eat her food before she's got to explain this to everyone.
Absolutely. And after she basically annihilates that stew, like not even waiting for it to cool down, just like inhaling it. And just like, okay. I overheard some of the guards apparently they use that barracks as a way station of sorts. They run some light tests there to determine fitness. Those who survive go to the upgraded program. Those are the ones who become shapeshifters.
Get turned.
Yeah. Those who don't survive, though, they also get used.
Use how? Are we talking constructs or
Yeah.
something more awful?
A little bit of column A and a little bit of column B.
Can you put an equal sign after those columns and maybe explain that a little better?
No, I really can't, because I didn't get that far into my testing and I didn't see anything. This is me overhearing bits of conversation here and there. I'm sorry that I didn't stay long enough to get the full account.
You were talking like you knew stuff, saying a little
All
column
right,
A, little
all
column B.
right, okay. Let's relax. The main point being that this is how the Grey God's numbers have somehow not been thinning despite our limited skirmishes with them, which is good to know. Now, what we do with that information is where things make it a bit tricky.
I heard that there's a cave to the southwest of town. That's where they send both the able-bodied and the not alive bodies.
Interesting.
Great. Lovely.
Can I
Fantastic.
pull out a map of the surrounding area to try and like see if I can pinpoint what cave to the southwest of town she's referring to?
Absolutely, especially given the fact that you have been patrolling this area, you would know that to the southwest There is heavy forests, and there's this one area where there's a rocky cliffside, and there is a cave entrance on the cliff. The cliff, and it's heavily wooded above the cliff.
As she's been telling this story, is it possible to do like, I guess, a perception check to see like I know we said that she wasn't bewitched or anything, but I'm still very much keeping an eye out for if like anything is like an external, you should tell them this sort of
I was
situation.
gonna ask about an insight or similar idea.
Arcana, if you're feeling generous, I'll take.
I'll say Arcana or Insight. Sure.
Okay.
Let's go.
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20.
Natural 20.
Boom, boom, boom.
For
Which
a
makes it a
total
23.
It doesn't appear like honestly, she's telling you what she observed and what she heard, and it doesn't appear like she is under like that she's speaking, that someone else is speaking through her or any other magical means.
Okay.
Well, how should we proceed, Halsey? Or anyone with a plan? I guess that's just my first instinct.
Ryderson will actually be like, this is good. We know we have information on them. We could shut this operation down. They don't know that we know this.
That's not wrong.
How do you suggest we go about it, though?
Gregoria will also chime up. But they know that I've been captured, that I've been rescued. They don't know that I know that information, but they will come looking.
And they'll be on high alert.
They haven't had a chance to spread that information yet, and we strike quickly? That seems unlikely. I'm just putting it out there just in case.
It's a possibility.
The purple tiefling Prax will chime up. Is there any chance that y'all were spotted?
Yes.
Briefly.
There is a chance. We may not have been. It may have only been briefly. But there's certainly a chance.
If at all, it would have been for a very short moment before some darkness fell over the scene. But there is still a chance that...
Well, some things can see in darkness.
That too.
So.
But also, there's not a lot of people that can do that set of spells, so it really narrows down the list of suspects anyway.
True.
So let's guess that maybe they have an inkling of...
Also, considering that, I mean, it has been some time, but Gregor is familiar with at least 3 of us from a while back.
Oh, so yes.
And he's seen us before. And if given our descriptions from being out in the woods, then...
A counter thought. If they think that the prison's being broken into and the cave possibly is being broken into, might the defenses on the castle itself be a little thinner?
Well, that becomes the question, right? Is where would they concentrate their defenses? Are they going to take a prisoner being broken out as a sign to defend the place where they're making wolves, or are they going to pull everyone back to the main castle? I don't. I feel
What's
like. Go ahead.
I mean, if there's enough of a commotion out where they're trying to make more wolves, I could draw more of them out from particularly ones that would be at the castle. If something were to, I don't know, caves cave in sometimes.
They do. What if the four of us check out the caves after the rest of the resistance starts a distraction in town? And we can collapse the caves on our way out?
Well, if it's less of a distraction and more of a people spot a prisoner and some friends trying to escape into the woods, trying to get away, get the misinformation that people are trying to flee.
The old whisper campaign.
With that suggestion, the tabaxi like sits up. Now that's something I can get behind. I could make that work.
Oh, good, because I have no idea how to actually accomplish that.
Rose is very good at rogue things. I've never really gotten the craft myself, so I leave it to the experts.
That's fantastic
How
to
long
hear.
would you need, Mystic?
If Grigori is up for it, we could probably have them thinking running off due east. Maybe within 2-3 hours.
We can work with that.
Can we all be ready in 2 to 3 hours?
Do we want to try and really use the time and maybe go to the cave and start that situation and hopefully sneak in and maybe incapacitate anyone who could send out a message? And then would we have enough time to get back to the castle and make sure that there's no backup from behind coming, in a way?
Or are you thinking one fell swoop?
It's ambitious, but not the worst idea I've ever heard.
Without knowing their numbers, yeah, it could be an extremely bad call. But also sending a few people chasing off through the woods, if we can't do both, would not be... It would blow that particular distraction, but it wouldn't be the worst thing that's ever happened.
What does everyone else think?
I think it's risky trying to storm the castle today. But if we're finding that if we can get a solid idea of the numbers that we're dealing with and it looks doable, I'm at a place where I could try that today. But I know some of you may want to, just kind of nods towards the casters. May need a little bit more rest before tackling something that big, but I'm game to destroy a cave system today, though.
Scotty, what do you think?
That's a loaded question. I kind of just want to go kick Gregor's ass, honestly. But any of the three would work. I don't think they would expect a full straight attack to Gregor's place, but getting people out of the prison and preventing them from becoming wolves or other equal sign wouldn't be a bad idea either. Otherwise, stopping the whole unlimited army at the cave isn't bad either.
Annabelle,
Let's say
dynamite.
I was you like look over and she's by which I mean I am
Halfway
scrolling through
in.
my inventory. Annabelle is actively like she has like an arm like elbow deep in the bag of holding, and she is like actively pulling out firecrackers, seeing just how many explosives she has, like firecrackers and cherry bombs, and like just she's in that process and just kind of looks up at you and goes like, huh? Oh yeah, I'm just kind of doing a little inventory now.
Yeah, because if we could possibly sneak up, seed the caves with something explosive, have that go off kind of at once the Whisper campaign is underway, and possibly pull as many people as possible out of the castle, then we do the castle, and then we only really have to do like 1.5 things.
Can you read thoughts, or are we just on the same wavelength right now?
I feel like lately we've very much been on the same wavelength.
All right, yeah. Pulls out like 3 more, or like another handful. I have 100 firecrackers in my inventory and like 5 cherry bombs. Like,
Get the tape.
Hanail looks like vaguely worried about the concept of there being 2 of Sheer, but just sort of like shrugs and says, well, it sounds like we have the beginnings of a plan. Mystic Rose and Gregoria, you all start drumming up chaos, and we will get some explosives, I guess.
get some. I have plenty.
It's stone.
We could always use more.
Yes, more would be better.
Never hurts.
I'll look at Halsey and say, your friends are eccentric.
We can hear you.
Yes, I would hope so.
You should have seen the lady who stole my hat.
All right, well, I suppose there's no point sitting around here anymore.
Halsey will take out a little glass vial, and we'll actually a couple of them. We'll hand one to Annabelle, and we'll hand one to Scotty. These things tend to be immune to weapon that's not silvered, or resistant to things that are not silvered.
That
So you may want to.
explains why they were so difficult in the woods. That explains that. That makes sense.
You may want to douse your weapon in that before fighting.
How long does it last?
One vial will get you 2 coatings. 2 coatings, or 1 coating will basically last for 10 minutes.
Okay. All right. Cool.
So basically, you have two
10-minute
combat
uses.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah.
cool.
Or
2 big fights.
2 big fights, yeah.
Okay.
I've got, and she'll say, I have more at the inn. I just didn't, those were what I had on me.
Yeah, of course.
Thanks.
So we're running this incredibly tight, well thought out plan, and we're hitting the castle.
Come on, Cher. You know that actual, like, tight and super planned and well-timed, like, plans don't ever actually work. You know that.
I mean, I know that generally. I'm just saying, are we in agreement about the idea of this plan that probably won't work?
Does any plan ever work?
I think yes.
So I take it a yes from Annabelle. Scotty, any words of wise caution before we do something incredibly terrible?
Don't die.
Yeah.
That's fair.
All right.
I should not have used as many spells as I did in that dungeon.
Do we need a short rest before we go?
Could this
that
hour
helpful?
have been a short rest?
Yeah, I'll say that, like, because y'all were just sitting around watching, you can take a short rest.
I get my
And-
action surge back.
Just to confirm, where are you guys going?
To the caves.
Yes. Us four
Set
are
up
going to the cave.
dynamite.
Yes. Excellent.
But also, we should absolutely be asking everyone. We're crowdsourcing explosives.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And I am checking my inventories to see what all I have.
Yeah, it's like I have flammable oil.
I'll say, it delays your trek, but the Mystic Rose, the tabaxi, is like, hang on, I've got a stash. Hang on.
Excellent.
And-
Why do you have explosives?
Because they're useful.
Mhm.
Exactly.
See? Rose gets it.
What? Rogues.
Come on, it's nearby. I knew that we would at some point need them. I have a couple of caches hidden about.
I mean, also here's a dynamite's a non-magical item, right? It's
Yeah.
normal shit.
Mm-hmm.
I can, as an action, create one non-magical item, and the maximum size is, I guess medium. Can I create like a barrel of dynamite, like like the cartoony, old-timey like TNT barrels?
Sure.
Fluffernutter.
Fluffernutter. Sure. Yeah.
Just in addition to whatever
Yeah.
else we get, like if we get enough, But
For the record, in Annabelle's inventory, I have 100 firecrackers, 1 cherry bomb left, and 55 bottle rockets.
take that all
To
together.
add to this whole mess of explosives.
Oh yeah.
Annabelle's entire character arc has been building up to this exact moment.
Mhm.
Hell yeah, it has.
Mhm.
I've been training for this moment.
Yeah. Some time passes. Eventually, Mystic Rose comes back and has like this kind of just shoulder bag,
Oh, and an
And-
explosive arrow.
and just like hands it over to you, Annabelle. And you find that there are 10 sticks of dynamite in there.
Excellent. Now this is the heavy duty stuff. This is what we really need. Thank you.
See, it comes in handy.
It does. Don't give us that look, Hanail.
It's-
I
it
see
is
that
useful
face.
in this instance.
That's a disappointed elder sibling look, and I don't like it.
Well,
Well, let's
You
go.
don't
I
get to
can't
give me
help
that
my
look.
face.
You can give her that look.
That's
I think I'm
Points to
older
Sheer.
than you. I'm fairly certain I'm older than you.
Sir? You're not my older sister.
Yeah, that's a little bit. So let's go blow up a cave then.
Yeah, let's do it.
Hey, Jess.
Hey.
I'm gonna DM you something that I did during the hour
Okay.
that we had of waiting for the materials.
Uh-oh.
Hmm.
Secret stuff.
Hmm.
Excellent. All right. So, you part ways from the members of the resistance and trek out towards the southwest. You get outside of town a little ways, and then you begin to start kind of marching through the forest. Are y'all taking... What kind of approach are you taking?
Stealthy.
Stealth. I also feel like if we know where the entrance is, maybe trying to like
Kind of coming from the side.
Mm-hmm.
Sneak around. Try to avoid notice as much as possible.
Okay. Go ahead and make me some stealth rolls.
stealth.
Harold,
I'll
help Scotty.
Activate my sword. Give everybody a +2. As
Thank
long as
you,
y'all are
Harold.
within the radius of it.
Oh. Okay.
Thank you, Harold. Natural 20.
There you go.
Nice.
That oil can, I'm telling you.
Yep. He's working
Good
overtime.
stuff. Oh, that is an 18 for Hanail.
24 for sheer.
Hold
All
on.
right.
33.
All right. Super quietly, you navigate your way through the forest, going a little bit out of your way so that you can come and approach the cave entrance at an angle. And once you're about... Actually, as you're traveling, you notice, Hanail, you take comfort in this. Dark clouds begin to cover the sky. There's a thunderstorm that is imminent on the horizon. At about approximately 200 feet from you, you can see the cave entrance. And you see a couple of members of the Grey Guard and these large constructs that almost look mechanical, with these large spikes coming off of these bulbous shoulders. And Annabelle, you remember
Yeah.
a watch where you encountered these creatures putting dead bodies on the spikes, and you see these creatures removing the body parts and putting them on the ground, and then members of the Grey Guard hauling the bodies, putting them into carts, and then beginning to go into the cave with those. There are 3 of these large creatures outside of the entrance. What do you do?
I thought that description sounded familiar. Okay.
I would love to prestidigitation, like the smell of pine trees kind of directly around us. Whatever tree is native. Cover our scent, because I'm not liking this.
Smart.
Constantly like Febreze.
Like, does the cave seem like something we could structurally collapse here, or does it seem like something we're gonna have to do further into? Like, does this entrance look like it could even be?
It looks fairly solid. So the way the cave is that, like, the ground, this is a fairly wooded area. However, at the mouth of the cave, there's less forest. In fact, there's kind of like a path that's been ground down from footsteps traveling towards it. It is a fairly solid rock wall that is a cliff side, and then on top of that cliff is more forest, lots of dense trees. In fact, how about this? Why don't you look in Roll20, and then you can see what this looks like.
Oh heck
Oh,
no.
Oh,
dearie
boy.
me.
No,
Oh,
golly
boy.
gee
for it.
willikers.
Oh.
Oh,
Those are
oh,
those dudes right over
oh,
there. I mean, are
oh,
they?
that's fun.
Are these little buddies moving away, or is this like now they're making camp for the time being?
You get the impression that they are standing guard for the time being.
Mm.
Okay.
Question, DM.
Answer.
How plausible is it, since this is a thick forest and it's getting ready to storm? Are these the types of conditions that would cause fog to move through the forest?
Yes.
I could cast a really big fog cloud.
We're also sneak in through.
I mean,
That's the idea. It'll heavily obscure everything for sure.
can we get a view into the mouth of the cave?
It's fairly dark inside the mouth of the cave.
Does it look like? Does it look like it like goes down kind of immediately, like people would?
No, so it's fairly dark, but you can see a little bit in from like the fires that are lit outside of the cave. It looks like there is a long path. Like the cave entrance has a long path.
Okay.
Okay. Is the entrance of this cave actually 20 feet wide?
Yes.
Hmm.
I could try to sneak in a little closer, get a better look at what's inside the mouth of the cave. I can see pretty far. I'd have to sneak past them, but I can give it a shot.
Do you want the cloud cover beforehand? Because that won't
We'll be able
seem...
to see through it.
Oh, that's true.
So we couldn't see her if she got into trouble.
Yes.
I can go invisible. I can still do that. That's just this. Shows off that ring that allows her to do that.
Do these creatures have like very normal looking eye faces, or do they look like they would have like super magical animal senses? You know, like true sight shit.
Make me an Arcana check.
Huzzah! Ooh.
And also y'all are not as close as you
Yeah.
are in the map.
Yeah.
They're just
That
You're s-
will be an 18, not a dirty anything.
18. So you do notice that their eyes are glowing in an unnatural way. These things are creations. They are not creatures of any living variety. You notice that they probably don't require things that living things would need, like air, food, drink, sleep, things like that. Make great sentinels. That probably effects and conditions that would normally apply to living things would not apply to these things. They probably can see pretty well, but you don't know whether or not they would have true sight.
Along those lines, though, DM, would I remember anything about their senses, their perception, like how sensitive they are from the last time that I ran into one of these things?
You would know that they seem to navigate in the dark very well.
Mm-hmm.
Um and that you're very stealthy, and at least at that time you remained very still and very quiet, and it did not it was not attracted to you.
Okay. Okay, cool.
One more question.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
From what we see of the entrance of the cave, does it look like it stays that wide? I know we can only see in a few feet, but
It does look like it stays that wide for as far as you can tell.
Do we? Well, no. Never mind.
Because I've seen one of these before, what I remember from last time was that I was real quiet and kept real still, and it didn't seem to notice me. It left me alone, at least. But that was really quiet and really still by my standards, even. And so I can try to get closer and get a better look, but if we want to get past these things, I think it'll either be through force or by trying to trick them into going away.
Yes, I think another issue with just sneaking by them is we don't know how it's going to go inside, and I don't know if I necessarily want the exits guarded.
Yeah.
I could. There are mastiff patches on the rope of useful items. If we need something distracting and distracting, or a horse. There's also a horse.
You know, considering the conditions, if we time the explosions properly, we may be able to do this. Not necessarily quietly, but no one would be able to hear us over the
Disguise it
storm.
with the thunder. If it starts.
Well, I can start the thunder.
Fair enough. Well, either way, planting explosives, we'll have to get to a better position to do that, which will still mean getting past these things.
Yes.
Getting them out of the equation. I think if we try to fight them, then whatever's inside will be alerted to our presence.
Possibly. I may be able. It depends. I can be very noisy in a fight, and it doesn't necessarily sound like fighting with the storm. But that, is subjective. Depends on how closely they're paying attention.
So distraction and Annabelle sneaks in. Is that the thing that's happening? Or are we all trying to sneak in? Just to clarify.
I think if any sneaking in is going to happen, it needs to be just me.
I agree with that.
But it's me sneaking back out with those things there that I'm concerned about.
It's the issue.
The upper lip of this cave is above their heads a bit, right?
Correct.
It's not quite as sneaky, but if we could get on that ridge, could Spider climb you down and in?
Wait, you can make it so that I can do that.
Thing
where you go on the wall.
You can piggyback. It's now a joint operation, but I don't have another way to do that. You're right.
Why don't I try and get a better look first? And we go from there. Might be able to make a better plan if we know more about what's going on.
Do we want to... have a dog run through the scene, or is that too much?
I think we wait on any sort of distraction just yet.
Okay. Well, I believe in you, Annabelle, and I grant you bardic inspiration.
Aw, thanks.
I will also cast Bless on the three of them.
Yeah.
Not myself.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'm going to draw my sword, do the concentrated darkness around myself to give myself advantage on this stealth. And I'm gonna start by just kind of sneaking up the side. I'm gonna start off by, I'm also gonna go invisible. But I'm gonna first, without even trying to get inside the cave, just get to a point where I can just try to get a little bit closer so I can see better inside the cave. Because with my Devil's Sight, my one of my invocations, I can see in both magical and non-magical darkness, like normal light, up to 120 feet. So it's doubling the regular dark vision.
Okay.
So...
Good. Roll me a stealth check.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Ah! He dropped one of them. Okay, that one's just gonna live on the floor. We're gonna try a different one because I can't see it. Okay, what's that? That's... Okay! You know what? Fuck it. I have the inspiration. It's a D6, right?
It is, and you have... There's a mote of potential with it now, which I guess means you can re-roll that on ability checks and choose which die to use.
Oh, that's cool. Hell yeah.
And you have a D4 because you're blessed.
Well, I rolled a 6, so we don't need to re-roll it.
Nice.
Oh my god! Y'all are fantastic. Y'all are amazing. Okay. Alright. Hold on. That's... That's a 41, DM.
Oh.
Excellent. So, as you sneak up and you get a further look inside the cave, you notice that the that further extended, you can kind of see as far as that hallway goes in that cave. And you notice that the rocky, rough terrain of the cave transforms along and becomes more of a polished marble, as in worked by human hands, constructed by humans. It changes. There is human made architecture in here. There is a hallway that goes off to the left, and there's a large iron door directly at the end of this hallway that you're able to see.
Okay. Alright. Out of curiosity, how close are we right now to town, to the castle? Like, where is this cave system in relation to the castle? Like, is it possible that this could be connected?
No, because it would be unlikely. You're about, like, you probably trekked about 4 or 5 miles outside of town to get to this area.
Cool. All right. I will double back and report back to the party. Tell them everything that I saw. So, I think if we can block that door and block off that hole, it would trap whatever's going on there inside.
Door open, in or out? Could you tell?
Did it open in or out the door?
It would open in.
Okay.
I mean, collapsing the tunnel a little bit in front of it would make work. That was what I had. That was my whole sentence.
Yeah.
But also, if it's... I'm just gonna... Just pardon me while I rack my brain and read a spell. But that doesn't work. Never mind.
Aw.
Yeah. It's the spell that I always want to be better, and it's always lame. Like, every time you read it, it's just so much text. You're like, yes, there's gonna be something cool in here.
Mhm. There's got to be a corner case somewhere where this is awesome, right?
Yeah, and it's just,
Nope.
it's like, nope.
It's
Nope.
bad every time. That's how I feel about the spell Giant Insects. It's like, I really want this to be good somehow. It's just bad.
Big bugs. Just big bugs. I think I'm for the explosives, but we just have to put them in the right spot so that we don't just blow out the door and give them like 10 exits or whatever.
Yeah.
Which could maybe be just...
I could do probably. I mean, I don't have the exact idea of what to look for as far as construction and stability and what all else, but give me an idea. If either you, if any of you have the idea of what to look for, I could then try and find it. But
I mean, from a technological standpoint, I could help with a good guess. Scotty, you look like you break things down fairly often. Any idea?
I mean, point me to it. I'll hit it with the hammer.
That is fair enough.
Annabelle, make me a insight check.
okay.
See if the cave is lying to you.
Yep. Just a plain insight.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's gonna be a grand total of 15.
That door was heavy,
Yeah.
large, metal, locked. You know what they put behind locked doors, don't you?
Good shit.
Yeah.
I mean, there's also probably something valuable behind that door. Something important. I don't know. That might be where they're. I mean, it's likely where they're doing their experiments and everything. But might be valuable to try and get in and see what all they've got back there.
I mean, if we collapse the door in front of them and know where the rest of the cave is, we could also tunnel it from above later after we cut the head off the snake.
I feel like this may not be the popular opinion, but I feel like all of our problems and planning is made much simpler if we just kill these three things.
I was thinking about that too. So even if we try to just
Then,
get them
then we would have
to leave
time.
and
Granted,
later.
I have never fought the frankly grotesque things, so that may be harder said than done.
I have a very foolish idea.
Let's hear it.
The best kind.
I read the spell again. I can do something. So, I could bore a hole through the roof of the cave, big enough to, I don't know, hide the dynamite in very low, and then we explode it, and hopefully it just caves in that whole section and blocks the door.
Oh, I like that. I
That's a
like
good
that
idea.
idea.
I mean, alternatively, I could do the thing on the same thing on the opposite side of the door, and we could just bore in through the roof. Muddy
I
the
would start
waters.
by caving it in and then see if we want to try and get in ourselves.
But then we'd go. I feel like then we go back to Gregor immediately after we cave it in and come back later,
Yeah, that's fair,
and
yeah.
maybe let him die of dehydration or something.
I do like the idea of just kind of planting the explosives in the ceiling.
Makes it a lot more difficult to avoid them, that's for sure.
Although I do think you have a point there, Hanail, about taking out these things.
I mean, there's nothing to say we can't do both, right?
How about we do the explosion and see if they immediately like do that weird like speed zombie movement at us, and then we have to fight them, or if we can just like go back to town and come back and murder them later.
All right.
Scotty, again, any
Yeah.
words of wisdom before we do something incredibly foolish?
And are you up for this plan?
I don't have anything really to contribute unless I need to pull one of you guys out of a bad situation, so I can hit it with a hammer and I can move you a little bit.
Yeah, but I mean, you can say these things.
If we
Any
can.
thoughts about how you think we'd do against him?
Has Scotty ever seen anything like this or heard anything like it? Does she have any gauge whatsoever of how much fuckery these things are going to do to us?
They're big.
Sweet.
They're gross.
They are big and they are gross. I'm super contributing you guys. Let's go fight them.
Alright, let's blow some shit up and then see what happens.
All right. So where are you blowing? Like, are you wanting to get your side of the door or opposite of the door?
I think outside of the door towards the cave entrance.
Okay. So closer to y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So we'll, I guess, loop around to get on top of the cave.
Yeah.
And it was a pretty straight shot, right? We can just assume that about like looking where the front of the cave is, just like kind of centering myself to where I think the.
And I think Annabelle could probably gauge from like what she saw from looking in, kind of reverse engineer where the open parts would be.
Absolutely.
When they go off to do that, can I hold a spell?
Sure.
I just want to just be holding a call lightning spell. Just in case shit pops off.
Okay. So what I am going to try and do.
Yeah, Scotty's holding her longbow, just in case. Ready to hit one of them.
Is cast Transmute Rock and go through the roof of this with like the rock just turning to mud in like a very specific area. That like I would base it on the volume of stuff that we have, but I am also absolutely going to Looney Tunes Acme make a little barrel of gunpowder that also like fits in there perfectly. And just like right at the edge so it has like maximum like explosive power. And then just for good measure, so that it absolutely cannot just shoot out of the end like a bullet, I am going to take another patch off of this is dumb, this is a terrible plan.
What are you
Another
thinking?
patch off of the robe and put the iron door over it just so it's not like all of the wasted
With
energy.
Still a fuse sticking out.
Yeah, like through the keyhole, just like
Yeah.
fuse,
Yeah.
hide up.
I feel like we've got
everything.
we've got your barrel, we've got the dynamite from Mystic Rose, and say half of Annabelle's explosive stash.
Okay. Well,
This feels like a
Couldn't hurt.
birthday cake Wile E. Coyote.
It's gonna
would
be
give
great.
the
Yeah.
Roadrunner.
it's very Wile E. Coyote.
Oh
so
yeah.
you bore in.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay.
So you're basically
Only the
putting
coyote
this against
can take damage.
the iron door, correct?
We're putting it like out. I mean, out a little bit because we want there to be enough volume of rock where it would actually cover the
Mhm.
door.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, physics. We do.
Alright.
We make like equations and shit.
How close are y'all to
We would,
when you're setting up? So
I mean, we
I
would.
think. Well, cause can you? I mean, the fuse is right there. Can you set it off from a distance?
Oh, I mean, yeah, I have fireballs. We could shoot a few fireballs
Fantastic.
and hope for the
Great.
best.
All right then. So we'll set it up, and then given Annabelle's experience with explosives, would I have a decent idea of the blast radius that we're looking at here?
yeah. You're we'll say that this is gonna be easily probably half the length of that hallway.
Okay. So then we will.
You also will know that iron door will absorb some
Mhm.
of it. You're still gonna knock that door down, but it's
Yeah.
gonna absorb some of it. So depending on the size of the room that it's going into,
Mhm.
it may not like completely
Mhm.
take out the entirety of
Yeah,
that.
because the goal is to just collapse in as much rock as possible.
Mhm. Yeah.
So yeah. Okay. So then I'll point out a spot for me and Sheer to take cover.
Yeah, sort of like big little trail for like the
Yeah.
wick and then back up, and I'm just like,
Mm-hmm.
well, we should have everyone's together for this, right? And then we're gonna haul ass.
And then we see what happens.
Okay. Everyone ready?
Yep.
I'm assuming Scotty's just not moving in all of this because the minute she moves, the entire gig is up.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I imagine
I feel like
me
part.
and you are just.
I feel like we
chilling
probably
back
left
where
Scotty
we are
and
standing,
Hanail
yeah,
on the ground while we went up to do the sneaky bomb stuff, and then snuck back.
Yeah. So like, also, ye old Oh, I am needing spells. Firebolt has 120-foot range, so like we can pretty much get back to them as long as I can see it, and I'll shoot off a few. But also, like, I would know my aiming capabilities and be like, maybe a little closer, and then we run.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
sure, this is the plan.
Okay. As you set it off, and instantaneously, Sheer, in your head, you hear, Sheer, is that you? I'm trapped in here. And then an explosion goes off, and you recognize the voice inside your head is Hazel. And that's where we're going to go to our break.
We trapped them in there. Blazel,
Oh,
Blazel, Blazel.
oh no!
the one time the rogue doesn't take
Well-
the bait.
The one time I didn't go for the door. Shit.
You know,
Well,
I didn't want to be too railroady, but I was like, give you a little
I-
bit of bait.
appreciated that you listened to the voting public on that one.
Oh
That's-
shit!
You know what?
Fuck.
Damn you, Jess.
what's the
God
worst that could
damn it.
happen?
It's
I'm sure
fine.
they're fine.
Oh no!
Now we All right, let me just
All
use my
right.
other 5th level so we can fall through the ceiling and fight these
God
people.
damn it!
Oh, shit.
All right, let's go ahead and take our break. If you are watching us on Twitch, thank you, and we love you and whatnot. And we'll be back in just a few minutes after we, go to the bathroom and refill our beverages. For those of you who are watching on YouTube, you'll see the second part of this session in just a couple of days. So, and also we love you too. But yeah, we're gonna take a quick break and we'll be right back.